and welcome back to my channel and a new video. So for today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about and show all the books that I read in April. It hasn't been the best reading month, I'm gonna be honest with that. Definitely have many short books and quick books. It hasn't been the greatest reading month, but that's okay. I'm still really happy about them, and there were some great books this month. So yeah, let's just get started. Here are the books that I read in April. The first book I read, which I did a reading vlog on, is Flawless by Sarah Shepard. This is the second book in the Pretty Little Liars series, which I think you all will recognize as the popular TV show that was made after these books. And I, in my teenage years, grew up watching that television show, so it means a lot to me, which is why I decided to read the books and to vlog them for you guys, because I thought that would be fun. So I have the first book and the second book where I vlog and I compare it to the TV show, because there are some differences, even though it's very similar. If you are not familiar with the story, we follow 4 high school girls in the series, and you have normal troubles like boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, parents divorcing, stuff like that, but it has a twist. It also has murders and they're being stalked. It has a lot of dark stuff within this cute little picturesque town where a lot of rich people live. You also have this dark side where their ex-best friend has been murdered, or that's what they think at least, and they are trying to figure out who did it, what's going on. And these 4 girls are also getting text messages and emails and letters from someone calling themselves A, and these letters and texts and emails are threatening. This person is threatening to tell everyone their secrets, and it's obviously not good. So these girls are trying to figure out who can A be. They have no idea, and as a reader, I think it's it's fun, but it's also so much drama. Normal teenage drama, but also a lot of drama with the whole who's stalking us thing. So I think it's a very fun series, but don't take it too seriously. It's very informal. It's very I don't know, it's fun. It was really fun to read. Next book I read this month was a manga, and I haven't read a manga in years, so this is really fun. That was Death Note Volume 1 and 2. This is a black edition, so it contains 2 volumes, and I thought it was really cool looking. So in this book we follow a death god who drops his Death Note book into the human world, and in the human world this boy finds that Death Note, and the person who finds this Death Note, whoever it may be, has the power over this notebook now. And this notebook can do quite horrible things. Whenever you write down a name in this death notebook, that person will die. I think it was a few rules. You have to know exactly how to spell the name, and then you have to picture him or her face while you write the name. So it's obviously a very powerful book, and it will be catastrophic if it comes in the wrong hands. At first, this guy that finds it kind of wants to better the world. He kind of wants to get rid of all the criminals in the world. He feels like that would make the world a better place. But slowly but surely, it kind of turned out to be something else, and he's kind of using the power in the wrong way. And this death god also is entering the human world, helping this guy. So this guy is the only person that can see the death god. The death god is invisible to everyone else around him. Meanwhile, the police, the FBI are desperately trying to find this person that is killing off people, because obviously it's not okay. It's a very dark book, obviously, but I thought it was a really cool concept and a perfect manga. It goes by really quickly, obviously, and definitely a deep dark one. It talks about death and it does horrible things, but I thought it was a really good one, and I'm actually really intrigued to continue on with this series and to buy the rest of the volumes. Next book I read this month was a graphic novel, which also I haven't picked up in a while, so it was really fun to read both a manga and a graphic novel this month. And that is Grimoire Noir by Vera Goentia and Jana Bukac. This was a very magical but also a little bit creepy and spooky story about a world where all the girls are born with magic. And one day this girl goes missing because of something magical, because of her magic, at least that's what people believe. So her brother is desperately trying to find her, because of course it's his little sister and he wants her home. And at his journey trying to find his sister, he discovers a lot of things about himself, about the world, about magic. And yes, it's kind of creepy and spooky and scary, but it's also really magical and beautiful. And what I really loved about this one is the art style, because you have really emotional stuff, because when it's a dark scene or a sad scene, the color of the illustrations are kind of dark and gray and blue. Then when it's a happy scene or a happy memory scene, you have the pages and the illustrations being like golden and really bright and beautiful. I thought that was a really cute little touch, because as a reader, that's gonna make me feel a lot of things. So when I read this and I got into a happy part, or a part that was supposed to be magical and happy, and the pages were all golden, it just makes me feel even more. So that was a really good thing. That was a really cool touch in my opinion, that does make a whole lot of difference. So definitely recommend this if you want a magical but also a little bit creepy, spooky story about magic. The next book I read this month was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This was my first Tessa Bailey book. I've been wanting to read her books for a while. She's obviously a beloved romance author and she has some really well highly spoken of books out there, but this was my first one and I'm so glad I finally read it. It's been on my Amazon wishlist forever and I just finally decided to click it and get it home, which I'm really glad I did. In this book we have Piper and her sister that are living in LA. They are kind of spoiled, at least Piper. She has never really had a real job. She kind of lives off her stepdad's money, but I guess she also makes money from being an influencer. She's really popular on social media, really has a huge following and stuff, but she doesn't really have a life outside of that. She's living her life in the digital world and she's never really had to do anything by herself. You know, she's always had cleaners that clean her for her. She always had people cooking for her, so she never really did things by herself. And she's like an adult. I think she's 28 years old if I remember correctly. And one day her boyfriend breaks up with her and she obviously gets hurt and she decides to throw this huge party by inviting everyone on an Instagram. Like, she has a huge following, so of course it's gonna be a huge party. And what basically happens is that the police shows up. It's just a whole mess, this party. Just not okay. And when her stepdad finds out about this party and about all the rules that she's broken, he decides to send off her to Westport in Washington, which is a little fisherman town that her real dad actually used to live in when he was still alive. Kind of reminded me, I mentioned this in my blog, it kind of reminds me of the movie Wild Child, if you've seen that, when Poppy is this rich, spoiled Malibu girl, and then one day her dad has enough and decides to send off her to boarding school in England. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. It was fun because I really love that movie. Yeah, so she and her sister get sent to Westport, Washington to live there and to take care of themselves, to earn their own money. They don't get support anymore. And their dad used to own this bar, so they get sent there to take care of that, to live above that, to run it as their business and kind of fix it up, I guess. And obviously Piper's not happy about it. She's never had to do anything by herself. I mean, she's not used to living in this small little apartment with bunk beds. She's terrified. But it turns out that it was the best thing that ever could happen to her because she gets to know herself, she gets to know her past, about her father, because everyone in this town knows of their father because it's a really small town where everyone knows each other. So she gets to learn about herself and have life outside of social media. And she also meets this guy Brendan, who is a local fisherman, and yes, that's where it starts. No, but it's a romance obviously, and we have very steamy and very hot, but it also have a lot of sweet moments about not only romance, but about Piper finding herself and what's actually important in life, which I think is a beautiful thing. But yeah, also the romance in here was so good. It's definitely one of my new favorite romance books because it has some really good scenes. And I definitely recommend it if you're looking for a romance that also has the main character finding herself. Like, it was so good. Next book I finished this month was Court by Tracy Wolff, which is the 4th book in the Crave series, where we follow Grace and her friends on their adventures. And I really loved the first book, Crave. I fell in love. It kind of was a funnier, less mature version of Twilight in a way, that had more creatures and a little bit more informal and funny and humoristic in a way. But then I feel like it kind of gets downhill from there because this book, I was really bored towards the end. This book, I can't really talk too much about it because it's the 4th book in a series, so if you haven't read the 3 first books, I'm gonna spoil things for you, so I'm not gonna go in depth about this one. But when I read this, all I can think about is how I missed the first book and how easy and simple life was then, and it was more fun. And this, we have a full-on war going on in this entire book, and it's a big book. Like, you know, Grace is this really powerful creature over her people, and she literally has the world in her hands. Everything is on her to save the world and to save her kind, and it was just a lot. It was too action-packed for me. It was too much war stuff, and just no. I think it was too much for me. I did not enjoy this as much as I would hope I would. Even though I love these characters, I really do, the story was not it, in my opinion. We did have some sweet moments between Grace and Hudson, which I really enjoyed, but overall we didn't have a lot of romance. We had just action-packed war stuff, fighting. Not really my style, to be honest, unfortunately. And the last book I read in April was Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second book in the Brown Sisters trilogy, and I read the first book quite a few months ago and I loved it. And since then I've been wanting to pick up the next book, and I'm so glad I finally did. It was such a good romance, but also a really nice like contemporary novel with a lot of romance in it, which I loved. We follow Danny, who is a PhD student, I believe, and she works as a teacher, and she is, you know, really focused on her work, really focused on her studies. You know, she has a lot of goals and dreams in her life, and she doesn't really have time for a real relationship. She's definitely the kind of gal that prioritize work and stuff, doesn't really look for love. And then we have Rafi, who is the exact opposite. I think he's a hopeless romantic guy, really wants something deep and serious and is not out for play. He really is looking for something serious. And these two people know each other from work. So he's a security guard and they are really good friends. And one day at their workplace, they have a drill and Danny gets stuck in the elevator because she didn't know about this drill, and Safi rescues her. And someone happened to be filming this when he rescued her from the elevator, and this video goes viral. And everyone kind of knows about Safi because he used to be a famous rugby player, and he runs a charity where he kind of teaches young boys in the rugby field about mental health and stuff. It's just a really sweet thing that he does. Charity. And after this video going viral, his charity is going really well. People start to notice his charity and people want to help, donate money. So these two people decide to start fake dating to get this good publicity and to get his charity even more, you know, more recognition so that people can help. And it's just, that's where it takes off. So since they're really good friends from the beginning, like fake dating isn't that hard. They do know a lot about each other already and they're really good friends, and they decide to start fake dating for publicity and stuff. And of course, I really love the fake dating trope, and of course here we have, they kind of realize that they start catching feelings for each other and it's a really sweet thing. But again, we have Danny isn't really interested in something serious. They decide that they're gonna sleep together, and Danny thinks like that's it. She's setting rules not to like never sleep over, just she has a lot of rules. And when she starts to feel more about him, she kind of tries to ignore it because she doesn't want to have feelings, while Safi is really open and honest about them because he wants something real. It was a really sweet one, but it also again had a lot of really steamy scenes and hot scenes. So definitely a mature book, even though I don't know if it looks like it, but it was definitely had a lot of mature scenes, and I loved every single page. Honestly, it's so easy to get into these books. It's very fast-paced. I really like this series, and I cannot wait to read the last book in this series. But yeah, that was it for my April wrap up. Not the biggest reading month, I know, but I'm still satisfied with it, and I'm trying not to push myself. It's okay no matter how many or how little books you read in a month. It's okay. Yeah, if you have read any of these, please let me know. If you want to, I would love to chat about them with you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in one of my next videos. Bye.